Have you ever felt like you were born with the volume turned down in a world that never stops shouting? Like everyone else received a rulebook you somehow missed. You understand people deeply, yet feel misunderstood. You sense patterns, intentions, and emotional undercurrents that others overlook. Yet you are often told you are overthinking. If you're an INFJ, this feeling isn't accidental. It's not a flaw. It's not social failure. It's a cognitive mismatch. Today, we're exploring why INFJs often feel out of place in neurotypical society, why that discomfort runs so deep, and why it may actually be a sign of rare psychological strength. Stay with me. This is not about fixing yourself. It's about understanding why you were never meant to fit into systems that weren't designed for depth. INFJs are one of the rarest personality types, but rarity alone doesn't explain the feeling of not belonging. What truly separates INFJs from neurotypical society is not introversion, sensitivity, or empathy alone. It is how INFJs process reality. Neurotypical society rewards speed, visibility, efficiency, competition, and surface-level interaction. INFJs prioritize meaning, coherence, emotional truth, long-term vision, and internal alignment. When these two systems collide, friction is inevitable. This video is not about diagnosing society or labeling people. It's about understanding why INFJs often feel like they're swimming upstream in a world moving in a different direction. 1. Neurotypical society rewards speed. INFJs move through depth. Modern society moves fast. Conversations are quick. Opinions are instant. Decisions are expected immediately. Productivity is measured by how fast something gets done. Speed is praised. Pause is questioned. Neurotypical systems are built around immediate response and visible action. The person who answers first is seen as confident. The one who decides quickly is seen as capable. The one who moves fast is seen as competent. INFJs do not operate this way. Their mind does not rush toward conclusions. It moves inward first. INFJs process deeply before acting. They reflect before responding. Because they want their words to be accurate. They analyze before committing. Because they understand consequences unfold over time. They feel before deciding, because emotional truth matters as much as logic. This depth takes time. And time, in a fast-moving world, is often misinterpreted. In classrooms, INFJs may seem slow when they are actually integrating meaning, while others memorize answers. INFJs are asking how the information fits into a larger framework. They are not trying to pass the test. They are trying to understand the system. In workplaces, INFJs may appear hesitant when they are evaluating long-term impact. They are considering ethical implications, emotional consequences, and future ripple effects that others overlook. In relationships, INFJs may seem guarded when they are discerning emotional truth. They are not withholding. They are listening carefully. They are watching for consistency between words, actions, and energy. Society often mistakes speed for intelligence. INFJs understand that depth creates wisdom. That difference alone can make INFJs feel perpetually out of sync. Not because they are incapable, but because their mind is operating on a different rhythm. 2. Neurotypical culture values noise. INFJs value signal. Modern culture is loud. Constant notifications demand attention. Endless opinions compete for space. Public validation becomes a measure of worth. Confidence is often performed rather than embodied. Noise is normalized. INFJs are wired differently. They are not drawn to volume. They are drawn to clarity. INFJs naturally detect signal beneath noise. They notice emotional inconsistencies in conversation. They feel unspoken tension in a room. They sense when something is misaligned, even when everything looks fine on the surface. This is not negativity. It is perception. Because of this heightened awareness, environments filled with constant stimulation are draining for INFJs. Crowded spaces, rapid conversations, emotional chaos, and digital overload tax their nervous system. They are not antisocial. They are overexposed. Neurotypical society often assumes that those who withdraw lack confidence or social skill. But for INFJs, withdrawal is often an act of self-regulation. They step back to restore clarity. They limit input to preserve insight. They choose silence to protect discernment. They are filtering information. They are conserving energy. They are maintaining inner balance. What looks like disengagement from the outside is often self-preservation on the inside. 3. Small talk is social currency. INFJs trade in meaning. In many social environments, small talk functions as social currency. It smooths interactions. It fills silence. It keeps things moving. It is not designed to be deep. It is designed to be efficient. INFJs understand this cognitively. They know the rules. They can participate when necessary. But emotionally, it feels hollow. INFJs do not struggle with conversation. They struggle with conversations that lead nowhere. They crave discussions about values, purpose, psychology, growth, and inner experience. They want to understand what shapes people, not just what people do. When forced into endless surface-level interaction, INFJs do not necessarily feel awkward. They feel disconnected. It is the feeling of speaking without saying anything that matters, of listening without learning anything meaningful, of being present without being engaged. Neurotypical society often interprets this as social anxiety or extreme introversion. In reality, it is a mismatch in conversational values. INFJs are not disengaged. They are understimulated at a deeper level. Give them a meaningful topic, a thoughtful question, or an authentic exchange, and their presence changes completely. Depth activates them. Meaning energizes them. 4. Productivity is measured externally. INFJs work internally. Neurotypical systems measure productivity by what can be seen. Hours logged. Tasks completed. Emails sent. Metrics achieved. Visibility equals value. INFJs often work in the opposite direction. Their productivity happens internally before it appears externally. They think deeply about systems. They synthesize information across domains. They integrate emotion, logic, and intuition. They envision outcomes before taking action. This internal labor is invisible. An INFJ may appear inactive while doing intense cognitive work. They may be quiet, still, or slow-moving while constructing frameworks, insights, and long-term strategies internally. This creates friction in environments that reward constant visible motion. INFJs are not lazy. They are not disengaged. They are internally building meaning. When allowed autonomy, flexibility, and purpose-driven roles, INFJs often exceed expectations. Their insights are thoughtful. Their contributions are refined. Their work carries depth. When micromanaged, rushed, or reduced to metrics, they shut down. Not because they cannot perform, but because their mind cannot function authentically under constant external pressure. 5. Neurotypical society encourages emotional suppression. INFJs decode emotion. Many cultures teach people to minimize emotion. Don't be too sensitive. Don't take it personally. Move on. Stay productive. Emotional discomfort is often treated as inconvenience rather than information. INFJs cannot unsee emotional data. They notice emotional shifts because emotion carries meaning. A change in tone signals something unresolved. A sudden reaction reveals a value being touched. Emotional discomfort points to misalignment. When something feels off, INFJs want to understand why. They do not dismiss feelings. They do not bypass discomfort. They investigate it. This makes INFJs appear sensitive in a society that avoids emotional complexity. But sensitivity is not fragility. It is perception. INFJs feel deeply because they are paying attention. They are reading the emotional language most people have learned to ignore. They are not overwhelmed by emotion. They are informed by it. And in a world that often suppresses emotional truth, that level of awareness can feel isolating. But it is also one of their greatest cognitive strengths. 6. Social hierarchies matter less to INFJs than integrity. Neurotypical society often organizes itself around hierarchy. Who has status? Who holds authority? Who is popular? Who is influential? These structures shape how people speak, behave, and make decisions. INFJs notice these hierarchies, but they are not guided by them. Instead, INFJs evaluate people through a different lens. Integrity, authenticity, consistency, alignment between words and actions. A title does not impress them if character is missing. Authority does not persuade them if ethics are absent. Popularity does not move them if sincerity is lacking. They are often unimpressed by power without responsibility. They are unmoved by charisma without substance. This can make INFJs appear detached, indifferent, or uninterested in social climbing. But this is not rebellion. And it is not apathy. It is values-based cognition. INFJs operate with a strong internal code. Their decisions must align with their principles before they can be acted upon externally. If something violates that internal code, no amount of recognition, reward, or pressure will convince them to participate. This internal compass often puts INFJs at odds with systems built on competition rather than conscience. They are not trying to challenge authority. They are trying to remain coherent with themselves. 7. INFJs are pattern thinkers in a literal world. INFJs naturally think in patterns. They see connections between events. They recognize recurring themes. They notice trajectories unfolding over time. They are less focused on isolated facts and more focused on what those facts are pointing toward. They are asking where this is leading, not just what is happening. Neurotypical society often prioritizes immediacy. What works now? What solves the problem today? What produces quick results? INFJs ask different questions. What does this become if nothing changes? What pattern is repeating beneath the surface? What is the deeper implication of this choice? Because of this, INFJs can sound abstract or overly philosophical. Their language may feel indirect. Their insights may seem premature. Their concerns may feel hypothetical. But history repeatedly shows that pattern thinkers are essential for long-term stability. They anticipate consequences before they arrive. They see cracks forming before structures collapse. They notice warning signs others dismiss. INFJs are often ahead of their time, not out of place. The world simply catches up later. 8. Emotional boundaries are learned late. Many INFJs grow up absorbing more than they should. They sense emotional shifts early. They notice when others are uncomfortable. They feel responsible for maintaining harmony. This often leads them to overextend. They carry emotional weight that does not belong to them. They offer understanding even when it costs them. They remain in draining environments longer than is healthy. Neurotypical society often praises emotional availability but rarely teaches emotional boundaries. INFJs learn, often through burnout or heartbreak, that empathy without limits leads to exhaustion. They learn that being understanding does not require self-erasure. They learn that compassion does not mean constant access. They learn that not everyone deserves the same level of emotional intimacy. When INFJs finally establish boundaries, others may say they have changed. They may be called distant, less accommodating, less warm. In truth, they are maturing. They are learning that protecting their peace is not selfish. It is survival. 9. INFJs are wired for purpose, not performance. Neurotypical culture emphasizes performance. Be visible. Be impressive. Be productive. Be efficient. Success is often measured by external output and recognition. INFJs operate differently. They are driven by purpose. They want to know why something matters before they invest in it. Why does this exist? Who does this help? What is the long-term impact? Without meaning, INFJs disengage. They may still function, but the spark disappears. Motivation fades. Energy drains. With meaning, something shifts. They become deeply committed. They work with quiet intensity. They give more than is expected. This makes INFJs unreliable performers in environments that reward surface-level productivity. But it makes them powerful contributors in spaces that value insight, ethics, and long-term vision. They are not motivated by applause. They are not sustained by validation. They are motivated by alignment. 10. INFJs feel different because they are different. INFJs are not broken neurotypicals. They are a different cognitive design. They prioritize depth over speed, meaning over metrics, integrity over image, vision over immediacy. Their mind is tuned to synthesis rather than reaction. Their nervous system is sensitive to misalignment. Their motivation is rooted in purpose, not performance. Neurotypical society is not wrong. It simply optimizes for a different way of functioning. And INFJs are not failing. They are adapting. They are discerning. They are learning how to exist authentically in a world that rarely slows down. Feeling different does not mean something is wrong. It means you were built to see what others overlook. And that difference, once understood, becomes strength. If you're an INFJ and you've spent your life trying to fit into neurotypical society, here's a gentle truth. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to see beneath, to feel deeply, to think long-term, to integrate meaning. Your discomfort is not weakness. It is information. It is your mind telling you that depth cannot survive in shallow spaces without intention. So choose your environments carefully. Protect your energy. Honor your need for solitude. Trust your intuition. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not too much. You are simply built for a different rhythm. And in a world that moves too fast to think, that difference matters. If this resonated with you, take a quiet moment. Breathe. Reflect. And remember, you don't need to fit into the world. You need to understand yourself.